All right. Let's roll on. Cabby coming off a nice start in NCAA basketball. We move on to 1 p.m. Eastern. Detroit Lions 0-8, 0-4 on the road. The Pittsburgh Steelers 5-3, 3-2 at home. We're at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 40 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 10 miles per hour is the wind. My first instinct, once I got, this was coming off a weekend of the Breeders' Cup and spectacular horse racing and I didn't get to NFL as early as I wanted to. Detroit opening up as 9-point dogs at Pinnacle. There's still 9-point dogs everywhere, except for Bet365 that was 8.5. If it was 9, I probably would have bet Detroit today. And I still might. But the fact that it already moved to 8.5, I was like, okay, well, there's no rush here. Let's talk it out with everybody. So that's the situation. 9 everywhere, 8.5 at 8.5 at Bet365. This total opening up at 43. It was slightly juiced. It was minus 106 to the under, minus 104 to the over. At Pinnacle, it's now minus 115 to the under. So a 9-cent move towards the under. When we go over to where the cash flow lies in this spot, we have 2,988 tickets in. 39% of the tickets, 39, are on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and 99% of the cash on the Steelers. So a giant bet is being made on the Steelers. And again, there was reason to pause and talk it out with you guys. Then 43% of tickets on the over, 93% of cash on the over. It's a bit befuddling. Lions coming off their bye week. We last saw them in an extremely ugly 44-6 loss at home to the Eagles in week 8. They avoided a shutout when Jamar Jefferson scored an 8-yard touchdown run, his first NFL touchdown. Goff was sacked 5 times. It's been a problem all year. Taylor Decker out for the season with a finger injury. And it sounds like he might be back. They took him off injured reserve. It sounds like Taylor Decker might be back. Obviously losing Frank Ragnow, their Pro Bowl center, is a part of that. But it's as bad as the offensive line has looked. So Drew Stanton is telling everybody that the organization and the players and everybody still believes in Campbell. And I believe that. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't at this point. DeAndre Swift leads all NFL running backs with 47 receptions, ranked second with 415 yards receiving, and has scored 5 touchdowns. So that's more than double of anybody else on the Lions. He's been very good. Khalif Raymond has gone from being a cast-off that nobody wants to being the top guy for the Lions. Is that a sign that the Lions are a terrible football team? Maybe. They can't throw deep, so clearly it's a problem. Goff averaging 9.7 yards per completion. That's 31st. He's tied for 31st in the NFL. Romeo Okwara, Jeff Okudah, the fact that they've been hurt has hurt this team badly. They're hoping that Jamal Williams and A.J. Parker, running back, cornerback, respectively, might be able to come back. Let's start with the Detroit Lions before we get into the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I know the Pittsburgh Steelers are an enormous part of this puzzle, but what are your expectations of the Lions coming out of the bye?
Look, they got a rookie coach. They've got a quarterback that's been cast aside, a former number 1 overall pick. They had a team with not a ton of talent to start the season that have lost a bunch of their best players in Ragnow. I think they've lost now their top 3 corners. As much as I want to get on the Detroit train, coming out of the bye, believing in their coach, again, there's not a ton of pressure. I mean, there is still a bit of pressure because you don't want to go 0-17. They already have the 0-16 distinction, so they do have to get a W. Now looking at the second half of the season to do it. I just don't know how you can lay money with Detroit at this point. They're 0-8 for a reason. They have a boatload of injuries. And it's one thing to say, we haven't lost faith in the coach, but I don't know. Some of them might have. I know there's got to be guys in that locker room who are thinking about getting out of the season healthy now because it's over. They got contract years. Like I've said this before. I said this on the show a bunch last year. I don't think any player gives up. Very few players do that. These guys are competitive. They're in the NFL because they have that competitive edge. So I'm not saying they're going to dog it. I'm just saying it's a really, really hard team to lay money on. Even with points. I mean, 9 points is a lot to put in the Steelers' hands because they're 5-3, but do they feel like a 5-3 football team? Have they had convincing wins? No, and they're also dealing with their fair share of injuries as well. But I pity Goff this week going against the absolute animal T.J. Watt. The only thing I'm kind of interested in this game is the over, and I want to bet the over just because my gut says over, but then I start looking at these teams and who's going to put up the points. Big Ben can't push the ball downfield. Jared Goff is Jared Goff. There's nothing for me in this game.
Let's talk about the Steelers here before I move on the Lions. If I move on the Lions. Steelers on a short week after their 29-27 win in last night's Monday Nighter. Big Ben 21 of 30 for 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Everybody joining us, it means so much to us. Thank you guys, man. Christopher Comentini, pocket quarterback Lamar Jackson, Harold Williams, Robert Allen, and we have Dutch Boy Fresh, our NBA expert on betting with the bag. Terry Walker. Thank you. Mad Capper saying Lions money line. Najee Harris ran 22 times for 62 yards and a touchdown, caught 3 passes for 30 yards. He has TDs in 5 straight games. Deontay Johnson caught 5 passes for 56 yards. Pat Freiermuth caught 5 passes for 43 yards, 2 touchdowns. As Bebsie was saying, TJ Watt was spectacular as always. 7 tackles, 3 sacks, 1 pass defended. Now is 11.5 sacks on the year. Cameron Hayward was excellent. 3 quarterback hits, 1 interception. This is where it starts getting touchy. Now, we know that TJ Watt, he can keep going. But a lot of these guys seem to be injury prone. This is a short week against a team coming off a bye. Cameron Hayward had 3 quarterback hits and an interception. He hurt his ankle. He's listed as questionable. I expect him to go. Chase Claypool, evaluated for an ankle injury. He's questionable. Spillane, ankle injury. He's listed as questionable. Now, they expect to get Ebron back. He'll help offensively. Boswell looks, in the zone after that concussion. And he looks like they love him, after taking the concussion, coming back. And they just, and picking up that fumble. They love the guy. But do you think the Steelers team that, deal with injuries, battle with injuries, are good enough to come back in 6 days and still, show out defensively? I'm not talking about offense. I'm talking about defensively.
Yeah, because I think that defense is still full of monsters. Watt leading the helm, but I think Cam Hayward's a beast too. And they're also facing the Detroit Lions, man. Like, this is... Yes, Robert Allen, completely agree. Cam Hayward is an absolute unit. But there's nobody who really, outside of DeAndre Swift, there's nobody who really scares me on Detroit's offense. So I think Pittsburgh's well adept at being able to shut down one guy. So then that ball goes into Goff's hands, and what do we think Goff can do?
I think that Campbell's going to have a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He saw what he's capable as a coach in that game against the Rams. I want the Lions. The question is, will I get a better line if I wait? And I know that we're sitting here right now early with this huge bet placed on the Steelers, but I don't want this veteran team on a short week against the for team coming out of their bye. I guess I just had to talk all this out loud. It sucks that I have to deal with an 8.5. That's fucking annoying, but it's the situation. 8.5. God damn, it sucks. I'm going to move on the Detroit Lions. I'm moving on the Lions here after the show today. I just think they can keep this game close. And it sounds like they still got fight in them.
But I said my gut wants the over in this, but my brain screams under. And I'm just trying to think of who gets the points.
Well, Mad Capper says I'm not even going to need them. They're going to cash the money line. My guy Mad Capper in the house. R says Hawkinson, Swift, all they have.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot Hawkinson. I'm a big Hawkinson fan.
Burgundy says, why do you want the Lions on the road? I want the Lions on the road because they're coming off a bye. I see them as still being a hungry team. I see them getting healthier. And I don't think the Steelers are very good. I don't. I was on the Bears plus 6.5 with a lot of confidence, and that sat all week. And it's not because I think the Bears are a good team. I still remember what the Bears looked like on the road in that loss to the Buccaneers. I still remember what the Bears looked like at home against the Niners, and I was confident in them. They're down 14-3 at the half. I believe it was 14-3 at half, and I was still very confident in the second half. I don't think the Steelers are very good. TJ Watt's spectacular, but I'm not afraid of their offense, and I don't think they have that quick strike man. Look, if Chase Claypool is not available, they don't really have a deep threat. So, yeah, that's why I'm going to take the Lions on the road here.
Bebsie, they buried the game film. Bebsie, did you hear me? They buried the game film from their last game. They're locked, dude.
Well, there you have it. Jose has spoken.
There's the Oracle.